Welcome to a macro view, where we take an in-depth look at Roll20 macros and break them down in an attempt to make you a better macro maker. Thanks for joining me. My name is Jim. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. This video is entitled Melee Weapon Attacks, and so this applies to obviously melee folks who attack with swords and hammers and mauls and pikes and anything that's melee range weapon. That will work for this macro. So remember, we always start with the default, so we are going to start with and template default in braces, and then we're gonna give it a title, and we're going to call it, I'm going to start with Zrager, and we're going to start with his Warhammer. That's the title row. Now we're going to build the first row, which is double braces again, and we're going to do the attack. So we're going to do attack. Now, I have spent countless hours and headaches. I used to give people the option to cast a normal with an advantage or with disadvantage, and you ran into issues all the time with nesting syntax inside of other syntax, and because there's multiple braces and brackets and various things would break the code, and then you'd have to use escape characters to fix it, and it just was a major pain in the butt. So we always roll twice. We always take the first result unless they roll with advantage or disadvantage, and then we take the higher or lower. So much easier to do macros, and our folks are used to it. It's easy. That's the way we do it, and that's the way we're going to do the macros going forward. So it doesn't matter whether it's a spell or a attack, whatever. We always roll twice. So the first thing we're going to do is do the first roll, which is contained in square brackets. So we're going to roll a 1d20. We're going to add Zrager's strength modifier to that. So we're going to do a stat call from the sheet, and we're going to use @Zrager pipe strength _mod. So that's the call right there. That is going to return Zrager's strength modifier. And then we're going to add to that @brace Zrager pipe PB, which is a proficiency bonus. And then we're going to end that roll, which is double braces. Now we're going to do the same exact thing and roll twice. So we're going to separate it with a slash, and then we're just going to roll again. So we have 2 rolls, and then we're going to end the row, just like that. So let's run that, see what happens in our first row. And there you go, Warhammer. So he rolled an 18 and a 14. We always take the first result, unless he was rolling with advantage, which he would get the 18 anyway, or if he was rolling with disadvantage, he would get the 14. And if you hover over it, you can see the system rolled a 1d20 and added 4 for his strength modifier and 4 for his proficiency bonus and they rolled a 10 and added 4 and 4 for a result of 18. So let's go back, add a new row, and we're going to add the damage. In this case, Warhammer is bludgeoning damage. And we're going to roll again. In this case, a Warhammer is 1d8. 1d8. Plus, again, we're going to add his strength modifier. So we'll just copy this right here. Add it to there. And we are going to end the row. Just like that. We're going to run that. Yep. Forgot to end the roll. Sorry about that. So if you look, the bludgeoning damage is just text, bludgeoning damage. And then the roll was a 1.8 plus 4 for his strength modifier, and that was his damage. And that right there is a basic melee attack macro. And if you want to modify this, all you need to do is, now let's also look at the other option of using selected. So if somebody creates this for their character, goes to the collections, creates a macro, pastes it in there, and they select show as token action, it'll show up when they click their character, it'll show up on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to find Zrager and select it. We're going to find next. We're going to replace. Okay, so now when we use this, if we try to do this without selecting someone, we'll get an error because it tells you try to do it without selecting a token. So let's select on Zrager and roll it. And there you go, Warhammer. And it uses his strength modifier of 4 plus proficiency bonus 4. Now, if I were to click on someone else, I could also roll this attack for someone else. Let's say Skiki. But his strength bonus is not going to be, it's only a 1. So it's 1d20 plus 1 plus 4 instead of plus 4 plus 4. And he only gets to add 1 because he's not a strength-based melee attacker. So those are the two options for a single melee attack. Now, if you want to modify this, if somebody wants to put this in there, if you want to put this in your character's sheet, again, I create a macro sheet for all my characters. So all they have to do is copy and paste it in a macro and they're off and running. You don't have to do that, but you can if you want. So what you're going to want to modify in this is you're going to want, this can be used for any melee weapon. The attack is always going to be the same. It's always going to use a strength modifier plus proficiency bonus. So you don't have to do anything to the attack. The only thing you would modify is the name of the attack. So let's say he's using a Greataxe. You change that. Then you're going to go down to the damage. It is not bludgeoning, it is slashing damage. And it does a 1d12. I can't remember. A great axe and a great sword. One does 1d12, one does 2d6. I'm going to go with 1d12. I think the axe does 1d12 and the sword does 2d6, but we'll go with that. So now if you run this, whoops, it's not a 1d16. It's 1d12. So if we run this, oops. Greataxe. And it does slashing damage, not bludgeoning damage. And it rolled a 1d12. So that's how you modify. Now if you're going to do it, if they want to do token action, they can use this one. And they don't have to change the name of anything. All they have to do is change the name of the weapon, the damage type, and the damage roll. Those 3 items. Now, if you're going to do it for a specific player, then you would also need to change every instance of their name. And I just do find and replace, stick in Notepad and fix it. So those are the 2 options with just standard attack. Now, what happens if they get to level 5 and they have 2 attacks? Very, very simple. All you're going to do is you're going to take from the attack all the way to the end. You're going to copy it. And you're going to paste it. And then we're going to, this is going to be attack 1. And this is attack 2. There you go. We're going to run that. Attack 1, attack 2, and the damage for each attack. So remember, we will use the first roll. Let's say roll with advantage or disadvantage. So that's how you do a double attack. Plain and simple. Again, you're only going to change the name of the weapon. I mean, it could be how about a rapier? And it would be piercing damage. And it's a 1/8. And piercing. And a 1/8. And that's it. That's all you have to do to the modifier. And of course, change the name if. So there you go. It's a rapier attack. Rolls a 1/8 for damage. The attack rolls are always the same. So that's how you modify that. Again, you can do the same thing with a selected. To do another attack, you just take from the first attack down and copy it, paste it. All it's doing is adding a third and a fourth row that duplicate the first two rows. And you're just calling one attack 1 and one attack 2 instead of a single attack. So you would go up here and attack 1 and attack. Where'd it go? Attack 2, like that. So I will put these both in the description below. There are quite different options for, for instance, a barbarian has frenzied attack, and they get bonus attacks and such. Monks have flurry of blows, and they have it's a crazy macro. They get a ton of stuff. And those are all individual macros that we will look at later down the road. But if you have any questions, leave it in the comments or contact me. And if you have anything that you would like to see for a macro, let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.